dandan noodles. They're going to be absolutely delicious. They are mind-blowing. Everybody knows this. They're the best noodle dish in the world. And if you ever have the good fortune of going to Chengdu in Sichuan, you'll see that any street, there's at least 6 noodle stalls just absolutely cracking it out. And I'm going to show you a recipe that I picked up in my time over in Chengdu. However, there's one difference, which is I'm making it with mushrooms. I think there's so much flavor in this dish, you really don't need the meat in it whatsoever. It's one of the best vegetarian bowls of noodles you could possibly have. We're going to be using a mixture of fresh shiitake mushrooms and dry shiitake mushrooms. To prepare the dry shiitake mushrooms, you need to rehydrate them first. So we're going to put them in a bowl and take some boiling water from the kettle, just a little bit to cover it. Then we're going to use something to push down the shiitake so that they stay submerged under the water. You can use whatever you like to push that down. This is just a system that I found worked for me, but you experiment at home and find something that works for you too. Dandan noodles is a really simple dish to make. That's the beauty of it. You just have to assemble the sauce together, boil the noodles and put them on top of the sauce. But we're going to make one topping, which is using the mushrooms. And we're going to take 2 or 3 fresh shiitakes and mince them up really nice and fine. The next ingredient for our mince is going to be 1 clove of garlic. And we're going to mince that up finely as well. Now this is the real taste of dandan noodles. If you don't have this ingredient, you can't really make them, in my opinion. It's yatsai, pickled mustard green. And we'll need about a tablespoon of this. It's so good. Now the garnish of all garnishes, a spring onion. I think with dandan noodles, you can either serve it with greens like pak choi or choi sam, or I think you can treat a spring onion as a green in and itself, like this. Cut it into slivers. Then we're going to make these bouncy. We're going to make these really springy, but we can make them curly and much more fresh and robust. You know, I think they're called spring onions because they grow in spring, but I think we're going to put some spring into them finally. If we add them in a bowl of cold water for 5 minutes, they're going to take on a curl and look far more splendid. Dandan, it should be covered in an aromatic red oil. But first things first is always a teaspoon of sesame paste. The sesame paste is going to add a thickness to the sauce, which means it will cling to the noodles and also its flavor. Then we'll have 1 tablespoon of soy, and here's the chili oil. You can go really between 2 and 4, but the point is that you need to put a lot of this in. So we're going to go with 1, 2, and why not another half. This might seem like it's going to be really spicy, but if you watch our chili oil video, you see how to make one which is more aromatic and less just blowing your head off. So you can put this much in and actually enjoy the dish rather than just proving to everyone that you can eat lots of chili. And some roasted sichuan peppercorns. This again is up to your own discretion. I absolutely love the numbing effect of roasted sichuan peppercorns, so I'm going to put in a really big pinch like that, maybe a bit more. And finally, just a teaspoon of vinegar, not too much, just to add a little acid and a little tang. But you don't want an overriding taste of vinegar. It's been roughly 15 minutes. If you want to know when these are ready, you can just take your shiitake mushroom, give it a squeeze, and if it's sort of soft all the way through now, it's not hard, then they're ready to go. The stem will still be hard, but we're going to chop that off. Yeah! We've reserved some of the cooking liquid. We're going to add just a tiny bit of the cooking liquid to our broth here, which is going to add a little mushroomy flavour. Just about a tablespoon or so. Just move these beautiful springy onions out of the way. Get you the close-up on the dried shiitake mushrooms being diced. Yeah. Oh. And we'll add these in with our fresh shiitake mushrooms. We basically got everything ready to go now, so let's get the noodle water on the boil, because once it goes, there's no stopping. You just got to get it in there all at the same time. Let's bring over our garlic, our yatsai, which is our pickled mustard greens, and finally our mushroom mince. Our noodle water is boiling. We can just let that bubble in the background. We're going to come to that once the mince is done. This oil is starting to smoke. I think it's time to smash all of these in there. We want the heat really hot because that's going to sear the mushrooms as soon as they go in and stop them becoming limp and liquidy, but seared and fried. Pinch of salt, and put the garlic in. Our yatsai. And the idea is with this, you're just really warming it through. And we're just going to grab a little bit of soy sauce for flavour and also for colour. That's about a tablespoon of soy sauce. Oh, come and look at that colour. That is beautiful. Our mushroom mince is ready for me. Look at at that, that's perfect. Our mushroom mince is ready. Our sauce is ready. Our bouncy, springy spring onions are springing, which means only that it's time for one thing. You can do the noodles, because these will only take 2 minutes. They're fresh, all right? Into the pan. I like my noodles like I like my spaghetti. Perfect. Let's drain these suckers. And this is where all your hard work is gonna be rewarded, because everything is now straight away ready so you can eat these noodles fresh off the press. A few spoonfuls of this. And then our curly spring onions. Mmm, beautiful. And finally a sprinkle of our toasted sichuan peppercorns. I'm not sure if anything beats just watching noodles pick up sauce from the bottom of a bowl. The sesame paste has created a really even coating. Watching a noodle pick up oil is, I'm pretty sure, is 90% of the reason that I bother waking up sometimes. And my wife, but 90%. Mmm. 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 And these big bits of spring onion, they really come into their own. They're being respected, like the spring onion they were always destined to be.